Hey guys, welcome back to Reality Check, please. I'm your host, Cassie, and happy Thursday. We are back a little later in the day because I promised you we would get as many recaps for Perfect Match so I could get you guys up to date, up to speed before tomorrow's final episode. My son is finally down for his second nap of the day. His naps are kind of wonky, okay? He's 2. So it's a little late in the day for his nap, but he is tired out. He played a lot. And so it gets me an opportunity to come back in front of you guys and give you a rapid recap of the next 6 episodes. I think I'll probably have to divide them up in 3 and 3 just so that it can save us some more time. So I can give you guys a little bit of footage and a little bit of info in time for tomorrow. So before we jump in, we are so close to 1,000 subscribers. We are still on that road. So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. I know that Perfect Match is a little slower as far as like video views and stuff, as far as engagement. But do me a favor, hit that like button. Let me know where you're watching from. Do you like Perfect Match this season? I feel like it had a lot of potential with the different casting of different franchises, but I'm honestly thinking it's a flop. Let me know down below and let's jump right in. We finished our last recap, episode 3. We're going to jump into episode 4, where we see Rachel and Clayton match. Then we also see he kind of manipulated her into matching with him. We quickly find out, not even 24 hours later, after the kissing challenge, that he maybe did not trust his gut. Maybe his gut spoke to him wrong. It was very weird. It gave very manipulative. However, we move on into the kissing challenge, and Louis was kind of freaked out about it, gave him the very huge ick, which I was surprised to see because this man goes on dating shows like he changes his underwear. Guys, like, what do you mean you go on 3 or 4 dating shows, but you don't like to kiss? Makes no sense. Make it make sense to me. I think he was just trying to like make Sandy feel bad. However, we know that Louis was not the only person to kind of get his feathers ruffled in this challenge. Danny and Lucy had an argument because she scored Ollie higher than Daniel. Daniel was very upset, made her cry. Like, it was so over the top, to be honest with you. And it was a huge red flag because we started getting to see that a lot of these Islanders or a lot of these cast members are trying to play a game and not maybe truly find their perfect match. We've seen that they have truly try to just lock in with each other from the very beginning. And I think Nick clocked it too, because at the end of this episode, he shares that they are not scoring them based on their couple. They are scoring them as individuals, which leads us to the Clayton and Sandy of it all. Clayton scored Sandy highest. Sandy scored Clayton as her highest, which led them to win the challenge together. Although they are not in a couple, Nick kept reiterating, you are here to explore all your potential connections to see who is your perfect match. He noticed it, I think, early on that they were trying to lock in on each other to try and get them to the finale. So I think that this mix-up was good. Louis was also upset with Sandy because he then tells her, you knew I wasn't going to go all out. So why did you go all out and give somebody an opportunity to score you higher? It was a mess. Truly, it made no sense. In my mind, it does not make sense. You were a womanizer. There is no way that you're on all these dating shows and you don't like kissing. It makes no sense to me. It doesn't. After that challenge is when we see Clayton break the news to Rachel and say, you know what? Maybe this isn't fate. Maybe I read my gut wrong. I didn't know how to express or communicate how I was really feeling. Bullshit. Honestly, I call BS. He wanted to get out of the relationship with Juliet. He knew that there was no spark. They had no connection at all. They were not compatible whatsoever. The challenges were proving that. He knew that he could probably win a challenge with Rachel because of their history. Is in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. He breaks her heart for a 3rd time. I felt so bad for her because she was so worried about looking like dumb on TV. That was furthest from the truth. Rachel, we love you. You are not the problem. This man is. He should never step foot in front of a camera for a dating show ever again. You can add him to the most hated man in America list. With all that being said, he ended up telling her also, if there is an opportunity for me to go on a date, I'm going to put myself on a date. Boy, bye. They get to the boardroom. Sandy sees her ex, JR, from the ultimatum, who she was in a trial marriage with. She knows she has to stir up the pot, bring this man in. She brings him in for 80. They then bring Scott in for Rachel because Clayton had no option but to put someone else in the match. There was no other person deserving of a date than Rachel. And he did that selflessly because he knew he was probably going to go home. There was no way that they were going to put her on a date and she was not going to pick this man to spite Clayton, because why be in a couple with Clayton? Like, if he just told you he's not feeling this. So we go into the next episode, episode 5, and we see that exactly happen. What truly surprised me, though, is when AD and JR came in holding hands. I was like, there's no way. It was truly so surprising to me, but I'm glad they stirred the pot. It got Ollie's heart pumping. He thought he was going home. What I didn't like, though, is when JR was too cocky. He was too cocky for me. He came in with such a huge ego. And I'm glad he ended up going home because it was too much. Like he was just very desperate almost. It gave very much desperate. The first half of the episode is the bombshells coming in, them mingling, trying to see, who they could potentially like couple up with. We see Louis sweat a little bit because of JR. Sandy entertains JR a little bit. They have a conversation. She does communicate that she is happy with Louis. However, Louis is not in these conversations. So given how he made Sandy feel a few nights ago with Alex coming into the villa and shaking things up with him, she wanted to put him in that hot seat and make him sweat a little bit, as she should have, because I probably would have done the same thing. We see Scott and Rachel match up. Then we see Louis and Sandy stay together. I'm thankful that JR went home. He was just doing too much for me. And we see Clayton go home. Very much deserved of that. The next day, there's another challenge, and that is the twerking one where they were on like the platform. That one looked like a lot of fun. However, it did look really hard. In my mind, I was thinking, are they wearing socks? Like, how are they not slipping? But then I realized they probably have grip. It was probably like a certain specific shoe, which it was. Louis and Sandy had that challenge, like for the most part, until he fell and disqualified him from the game. We see Lucy and Daniel take the win. Honestly, it was so funny because if you peep, Ollie and AD, they gave up so early on. And at the end, they were like, I don't even care. Like, we're just standing here because Lucy and Daniel are taking this. They go on their date. They head to the boardroom where they are met with a twist. Honestly, it was kind of crazy. They get to the boardroom and Nick walks in and he says, I need you guys to pick the two most compatible couples. I don't remember if he said you guys are on the board. I don't think they were. The two most compatible couples. They choose Ollie and AD, and they were stuck between Louis and Sandy and Madison and Freddie. And I was truly wondering like how that would have planned out had they gone with Louis and Sandy. But they ended up choosing Madison and Freddie. Then Nick drops another bomb, wipes the rest of the couples off the board and says, now these are the two couples. These are the two couples you have to now test, not the other couples. Their jaws are on the floor. Like it's like stuff is changing. Everything's happening so fast. Nick drops another bomb and says, whoever you choose to go on a date, it cannot be the same couple. You cannot pick the guy and the girl from one couple. You have to pick one from each. Whoever you choose, their current match goes home or leaves the villa. He said leaves the villa. There are two guys and two girls on the board, meaning each guy, like each person, whoever they were going to go on a date with, went on a date with the two boys and the two girls. The episode finishes and it's kind of a cliffhanger. Honestly, it was pretty crazy. The next episode, episode 6, we see where Ollie is chosen to go on a date. Madison is chosen to go on the date. So what does that mean? Freddie and AD leave the villa. AD is an emotional wreck. Madison is an emotional wreck. However, Freddie and AD leave. They're hoping that their connections can withstand this separation and this time apart. AD is super hopeful. Madison goes on her date. She's with Jalen and Ray. They go on like a boxing workout gym date. Ollie gets a more physical, hands-on date. He goes with Justine and Olivia. I hope I remember their names correctly. And he's giving them a massage. Very handsy, very intimate. He almost immediately forgot about AD. And that was a huge red flag to me. I was like, this man, what? They come back from the date. The house is shaken up again because now there's 4 bombshells, 2 boys, 2 girls. And the house is kind of like, whoa. We end up seeing one of the new bombshells. I don't remember which one. I think it may have been Jalen. Jalen pulled Sandy for a chat and Ray pulls Lucy for a chat. Louis took it pretty well this time. However, Daniel did not. Daniel then confronts Lucy again, makes her cry for like a 3rd time. And at this point, I'm done with this man. I really hope that in the future, she kind of like wakes up because this man does not deserve her. He then realizes like, oh, I messed up, then tries to comfort her. They match. And I was like, girl, this was your out. However, she'll be fine. Because we see Jalen and Sandy talking, Louis like, I'm not taking this sitting down. I'm going to go pull Olivia, which is what he did. And obviously they were doing tit for tat at this point. However, nothing came of it because they ended up matching with each other. Justine ended up staying with Ollie. Madison coupled with Jalen. So we see Ray and Olivia go home. This definitely shook up the villa because I don't think any of us were expecting for this type of date or boardroom to go on. So let me know what you guys think down below. We're going to cover episodes 7, 8, and 9 next, which was when the girls and the boys have a girls' day, a boys' day, and we see 80 join all the bombshells who were not in the villa, head into boys' day when they're at the beach, they're having fun, and she's clocking their tea. And Freddie, of course, joins the boys who were not in the villa. They all end up at the girls' day. And so the next few episodes are going to be so much fun. So make sure that you like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this season's perfect match. We'll catch you in a little bit for another video. Bye, guys. Happy Thursday.